Hey everybody, welcome back to Durbin's Bourbon. I'm Joe.
And I'm Josh.
Doing a whiskey comparison. They are single barrel select to our state.
Of Idaho.
Yep. The difference is one is an 8-year, one is a 10-year. Barrel selects are single barrels, like these are single barrels.
We're just 8-year and one's a 10-year.
And one's an 8 and one's a 10.
Or Elijah Craig, obviously.
Yep. 94 proof.
Yep.
Both of them are 94 proof. We just thought it'd be fun to kind of do a blind because we don't know which one is which, obviously.
See if the 8-year is better than the 10. The 10
Right.
is better. Like the weird thing is they're both the same price. So
Right.
we had in our state, we had 8, 9, and 10-year all the same price. And so I had an 8-year from I don't know. Wasn't last year.
The last
earlier,
selection,
yeah.
yeah.
And then the 10-year I got, I'm like, ooh, a 10-year? I mean, sucker for age statement always.
Right.
So we wanted to see if it actually is better. We always say the sweet spot for bourbon is about 8 to 12 years, so who knows? I don't know. We'll check it out. Try it,
And then being single barrels, hopefully they're picking what at the industry we all know out there that are whiskey drinkers, honey barrels. So you would like to think that if they're picking single barrel select, that when the reps from our state went and tasted these barrels, they're like, man, that is an exceptionally good barrel. Having said that, we don't know how good a palate the person picking the barrel is.
I assume they're okay.
I would like to think so, and that's what we're gonna have to just run with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully they have a somewhat trained palate that can pick out really unique nuances of a single barrel. We hope someday to be part of a single barrel selection. That would be super cool.
That would be cool.
Because there's different
That'd be
whiskey
so hard
clubs
to
and
pick,
stuff.
I bet.
I'm sure. I can't even imagine. So we're hoping that's what's in the future. Hopefully sometime we'll get to do that. But it's just a comparison.
For me.
Really. It just goes back to just because it has a higher age statement doesn't always mean it's going to be better.
Right.
I mean, that's just decent nose. Number 2. And we do ours. 1 is the inside, 2 is the outside. It's just like 1, 2, 3, 4. Might as well. It's just simple that way.
Say my number 1. God, they're so similar because it's the same thing basically.
Same mash bill, same whiskey.
I feel
just
like my
age.
number 1. I don't know now.
I
don't know. They smell so much the same.
They do.
I'm gonna go with my instincts. Put my number 1 nose. I liked a little better, but not by much.
Yep. I'm going to do that. Nose.
God, they're both very good
Best.
nose for me.
So, my number 1, I enjoyed the nose slightly more.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do blatant. They're both going to be good whiskeys. Elijah Craig's a good product.
Yeah.
Not one of my favorite whiskeys.
I like it better than you.
He does. That mash bill for me is just an okay mash bill for me, whatever their rye content or their yeast that they use, whatever it is. It's just not my cup of tea 100%.
Did it hit you?
Yeah. So, having said that, we can push through. Someone may have had a slight
My tum-tum hurts.
catches moment, which is
My tum-tum hurts.
it's making it difficult to focus on the smell of the whiskey.
That's making me sweat.
I should wear a gas mask
Everyone
right
loves their
now.
own brand. Smells like hot, sick, and get it.
Wow, that's strong.
That was like 10 minutes ago.
It took a minute for it wafting over here.
I had to roll up my sweaty skin and like through my shirt.
Okay. So let's
I want to try it. You want
let's
to
go
try
in
it?
for a taste. I'm gonna move up here.
Cheers,
I'm gonna
buddy.
gonna go in for number 1. Let's see what we got.
Ooh, it's hot. Woo! It's caramely though. It's good, I think.
1.
Caramel.
Taste.
Some sweetness.
Alcohol. Heat. Vanilla. Vanilla.
They're both sweet. I get a big caramel butterscotchiness on them.
Dark.
I want to get more
Cherry.
butterscotch. Oh, cherry's a good call.
Dark cherry. I got dark cherry.
Cherry's
on
a
my
good.
first one.
That's a good call for both, actually.
My tongue feels numb from possibly the alcohol or the flagellants.
Flatulence? Whatever do you mean?
Okay, number 2.
Let the pressure off sometimes.
Did you do number?
Yeah, I already got my number 2. I'm done.
Oh, for real? You did both of them?
Yeah. You're too busy smelling my fart. Dude, I'm almost 50 years old and farts are still funny. I don't understand.
On the nose, I detect ham, some
Oh, I did have Italian hoagie for lunch.
right, some Italian
I think it'd be more-
essence.
Did you get any like sausage and eggs? That's what I had for breakfast.
I could see a peppery sausage note in
Yes,
the
yeah.
back palate of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, stings the nostrils a bit.
Yeah, it smells like pure gasoline. I gotta be honest.
Ooh, I'm not a fan of that taste.
And the second one?
No. It's not as hot alcohol wise, but kind of astringent. Which matches the nose. I didn't
think
even
my-
write.
My second one is I like it better. Not necessarily the nose though. That's weird.
Nope.
My nose. So that's weird. So my
Nope.
nose. Oh, actually, now that I smell it again, that's so maybe because I tasted it.
Nope. I already know. There's no comparison.
Yeah, I think my number 2 is my favorite.
My number 1 is my favorite.
Yeah,
Wow, number 2
number 2.
actually
not good.
pushed my limits. Yeah, it was
Huh.
not good. I didn't enjoy that at all.
Yeah, my number 2 is definitely flavor wise is better. I thought my number 1 nose was better, but now that I go back and I've tasted it, I'm gonna go with across the board. My number 2 is my favorite. So, in my assumption, I would assume that's the 10-year one. Just in my assumption, because
Maybe
I don't know why mine's. But that's the problem though, because it's a little sweeter.
Right.
Do you think maybe a little more age makes it a little more astringent?
Astringent, right. Which we know is true with some whiskeys.
But 10 and 8 years isn't that much.
2 years in the barrel though, and it's a single barrel select. So
So if I was gonna say, I would say my number 2 is the 10, and my number 1's the 8, and I like my number 2 best.
interesting. So
Would
do
you
you want
like
to know
to
what it is?
reveal it?
Yeah. The number 1 was your favorite?
No.
Okay. The number 2 was your favorite. It is the 10-year.
Oh, I called it. That's what I called the
Yeah,
10
the
year.
number 1 was the 8-year.
Okay.
Number 2 was the 10.
And the 8 year, I had a little. I would like to say astringent. It's not really what the word I'm looking for. It had just the 10 was smoother, I guess, across
Okay.
the board. More the notes, the caramel and the butterscotch were more pronounced.
Okay.
I'd like the
wonder-
nose on the number 1 first, but after I tasted them, I could almost smell the more butterscotch on the number 2.
Right.
So I just was like, nope, number 2 is my favorite. So
And that's how I felt with my number 1 and number 2. My number 1, the nose was the best.
okay,
It had a good, clean vanilla caramel, just a fresh, robust bourbon characteristic. Taste, alcohol, heat, there was more of that. Vanilla, dark cherry. The second one, the nose, didn't even classify. It was because the nose, this one beat it so much. This nose didn't compare.
okay. So number 1 was best
Number
nose.
1, best nose and taste.
Okay.
Number 1 was my favorite. And number 2, I said nope, and then I just said shit. I didn't like it. It didn't taste good.
And so,
to
what
me.
would you say in your assumption?
I mean, I don't
What do you
know
think?
because I've had young whiskeys that were outstanding.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So your assumption, just to see, it's hard to pick
What
two
little-
single barrels.
What little I've had of Elijah Craig, I've had the 18 year, and I know I've had a good 18 year, and I've had an okay 18 year.
My 18 years not good.
It's very astringent, or it can be very
It's not
clean
great.
and crisp.
Yeah.
So sometimes that mash bill may not age very well. I still feel like number 1 feels a little bit more refined or a little bit more honed.
Okay.
So I think the barrel, knowing what the barrel does to a whiskey, I feel like that should be the 10 year because
Okay.
it feels a little more honed.
So you think number 1's a 10,
I
number
think
2's
so.
okay.
I mean, if I was going to guess, it really doesn't make a difference. But and the reveal, folks, is coming at you. And it's probably opposite, but it.
number 1 is a 10 year. You are
Holy
correct, sir.
crap.
Number 2's the 8.
That's crazy.
So we
Holy
both
hell.
kind of, so that 2 years in the barrel right there tells you, I know they're single barrels. I get it.
Yeah.
Totally different barrels.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know. Well, I guess they have
They
to.
would have to
because
be,
they
yeah,
dump 'em.
because one's an 8 and one's a 10.
But
Yeah.
I think it's very Elijah Craig profile anyways.
right.
That 10 years, that 2 years extra, it just rounded it out. Like
Yep.
you didn't even like the 8.
No,
Like you're
I
like,
didn't.
nope, I'm out.
No.
And that's probably closer to the regular Elijah Craig.
It probably
I'm
is.
assuming 6 to 8
6
years.
to 8, yeah.
So that just goes to show you, folks. A couple years in the barrel. I'm telling you, that 8 to 12 years, you just don't know.
It is a.
And to me, both were good. My 8 didn't gross me out like his did, but that you could tell that 10 years just more. It's just smoother. It's buttery, butterscotchy.
Yes,
and-
it's
yeah.
clean and
Yeah.
robust and everything you want in a bourbon.
Correct. I agree.
And it's
I got that.
yeah,
good
daggone,
one.
man. 10 years. I know. See, I'm me not being an Elijah Craig fan. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're like,
why do I
"Nah,
want to spend the money? I
you
have a
drink mine."
couple of them, but it was quite a noticeable difference.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I was 100% sure that my number 2 was my favorite. So
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
I had no different. Yeah, huh? Interesting, folks.
There you have
Single
it.
barrel selects from a program. If your state does the same thing,
Yeah, and they have 8, 9, and 10. Just get the 10.
Yeah,
just do
go
yourself a favor. Get the 10.
go for the age because
or get all 3 and compare them, and that's
do a
fun
comparison.
too.
Yeah,
Because they're all, to me, they're all good. He
Yeah.
doesn't like the 8, but
and you can always. The 8's not going to be bad
No.
in a cocktail if you. I mean, that's what cocktails were designed for, to make bad whiskey palatable. I'm not saying this is bad
no,
whiskey.
you just don't prefer it.
It's just not that's not my cup of tea, as it were. In a cocktail, that would be very good. That would
yeah, it would
make a
hold up.
great
It would hold up in a
sour, a
cocktail.
great old fashioned, a great Kentucky Mule. It would be a perfect mixing cocktail bourbon.
Yeah, I
So-
think they're both good, but I just that 10 years.
Yep.
That 10 year is
It-
handedly better.
Yes,
So.
it softened it, even though there's heat there. It rounded it out.
It made
and
it like a little more sweet.
yeah.
Maybe took some of the rye hit out. I don't know.
Yeah, because rye barrel kind of softens rye notes.
Yeah.
Age does. So there you go. A little bit more age on the Elijah Craig brought out all the best characters of that particular mash bill.
Correct, sir.
Price, I can't remember. Did you tell everybody the price?
No, it wasn't much. Under 40. They were under 40 bucks.
Oh, really? Okay. So under 40.
38-ish.
There you go.
Somewhere in there. And they're all this, again, they were all the same price, 8, 9, and 10
Okay.
years. So
Well, there you go. Under $40.
that's why I bought it. I was like, well,
Yeah.
it's almost the price. I think regular Elijah Craig's 30-ish.
Right. So you're getting a barrel select, single
Yeah.
barrel. They are single barrels, right?
Yeah, single barrel select for our state, but
Right. So
whatever your state picks, I'm sure they're,
they should be pretty
they're
good
probably like, there's the
quality.
10-year ones over there. There's the,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, and then they just
Yeah.
take their thieves and try it.
Right.
So decent whiskey, price points very affordable, very worthwhile. Both whiskeys are good, just depending on your palate. age did make this particular batch single barrels. The single barrel 10 was hands down the favorite from both of us on every level, nose, palate, finish, just everything across the board. It was a better sipping whiskey.
Correct.
And I'm going to finish out this episode with that one because I don't wish to gag on camera. It's been enough of that. Unless you do another one of those. We hope you guys have enjoyed, and gals out there enjoyed
and
this.
Dogs.
And dogs. Yep, we can't forget Armani, the dog. We hope you all have enjoyed this video. Gonna have to wrap this one up rather rapidly. As always, enjoy your whiskeys and bourbons
any way you like.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.